Hey guys, this is Max here, back again with hopefully another great political video. And today it is finally official. The 2024 Senate map is out on 270 to win, and I can't tell you how excited I am. And also that compared to 6 years ago, they finally added the independent for Maine and Vermont. Now, I personally don't really view Bernie Sanders as a independent, but hey, that's the way how he's officially clarified, and therefore that's the way we're gonna go today. So, first of all, I don't agree with those predictions. It also depends on whether the presidential candidate for the Republicans will be Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. For the Democrats, we know it's going to be Joe Biden, so we can work under that assumption. But anyway, I will do one scenario with Ron DeSantis being the nominee and one scenario with Donald Trump being the nominee. Now, let's go with the Trumple tier first. Under Donald Trump, I have no doubts Nevada would remain blue. On the Senate level, on the Senate level, it is a little more critical. However, I don't think he's going to win Nevada. It would be more likely than not that he's not going to win, though. Now, for Arizona, I'm pretty confident that. Actually, for Arizona, it's interesting. Now, this doesn't. Now, for Arizona, I actually think Kirsten Sinema is going to win by a pretty solid margin. Mostly because here's the thing. Despite the fact that she no longer identifies with the Democratic Party, I do think ultimately the Democrats will come around and endorse Kirsten Sinema's senatorial campaign. Why? Well, because we've already seen a few polls. And these polls suggest that in a head-to-head matchup, the Democrats would be ahead of the Republicans. But if Kirsten Sinema was on there as a third party, then the Republican would have a slight advantage over the Democrat because the vote would be split. Not by a lot. Kirsten Sinema was never polling above 20% in any poll, but it would be enough to spoil the election in the Republicans' favor. And just like the Democrats endorsed Evan McMullen's candidacy for the Utah Senate, since that was the only way for any non-Republican to win, they're probably also going to endorse Kirsten Sinema's candidacy for the Arizona Senate. That is my prediction. It is fairly bold as of right now, but that's what I predict is going to happen. Now, in Montana, even with Donald Trump on the ticket, I think Jon Tester is mostly done by now. In our increasingly polarized environment, he has not really been able to stand out as a moderate. It depends on how his campaign is going to go, but in a presidential election year, whether it be Trump or DeSantis, it'll be very difficult for him to hold on. Now, in Texas, Ted Cruz signed a pledge that he's not going to run for a third term. Given the history of politicians staying true to their word, I wouldn't say it's a sure thing that he's never going to run again, but I would count like 51 to 49 that he's probably not doing it. And another Republican who's less polarizing will likely be more popular and will have a more easy path forward in Texas. Now, with Donald Trump on the ticket, I believe Florida would be likely. And now we're getting. Now, I don't think Donald Trump is going to win. It would be lean. It would probably go Democrat, the vice presidency, if Trump was on the ticket. So, yeah. But we won't talk too much about Donald Trump in this video. I explained my reasoning behind why I don't believe he being the most feasible candidate in another election video. Now, in the state of Ohio, Sherrod Brown, he would probably be able. This is a difficult one. It depends on his opponent. But given the fact that 2022 wasn't really a Republican wave year, yet J.D. Vance still won by quite a significant margin, Ohio has historically been a very Trump-favorable state, and it will be a presidential election year. I do believe that Sherrod Brown, very sadly, will not be able to win re-election. That doesn't mean that I approve of all of Sherrod Brown's policy, but he is trying to be more of a moderate and more of like a working class guy. He says he's in favor of union policy, but he's not like in favor of socializing medicine. He's trying to be a moderate guy, one of the very few ones left. Either way, he's a true working class Democrat, something many Democrats like to claim they are, but let's be real here, by now Democrats are just a party of big city elites, mostly. Anyway, Virginia is an interesting case. Now, if Glenn Youngkin runs, I do believe this race could be Republicans could win it, but with Donald Trump on the ticket, it does look like he'd probably still lose. However, it wouldn't be likely, it would be lean. In Pennsylvania, Bob Casey. I think Bob Casey would win with relative ease. We're going to leave it as lean here. Maine would probably be likely instead of safe dem if Angus King runs again. But, we don't really have to talk about that. Now, Michigan, I don't think Gabby Stabenow will run for another term, but Democrats are having the edge over Republicans in Michigan as of late, so that's what I'm going to stay with. And Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, I think Trump would probably have a pretty good shot at winning Wisconsin, though I don't think he would. And she's fairly popular, so I also think we can leave Wisconsin as lean, but Minnesota will be likely. I don't think Amy Klobuchar will be able to do as well as she did in 2018. It won't be a blue wave year, will be a presidential election year, more polarizing, and so on and so forth. Now, this is my prediction for the 2025 Senate. West Virginia. We forgot to talk about West Virginia. Now, Joe Manchin is the only actually centrist Democrat. And when I mean the only actually, Kirsten Sinema is an independent now, but he's the only one left of like the old guard of Democrats, the Bill Clinton Democrats. And I believe, even though his approval rating in West Virginia is extremely low, his history and name recognition in a head to head matchup would save him. Because I can't think of a single candidate in West Virginia that carries as much legacy and history as Joe Manchin, that is as reliably moderate as Joe Manchin, and therefore, in the case of a challenge from the Republican side, with Donald Trump being on the ticket, I think the good old West Virginia conservative Democrat will be able to win another term. And that will still give the Republicans the Senate majority, but they will just have flipped the pretty red seat of Montana and the state of Ohio. Won't be that amazing of a presidential election because not much will have changed. And Republicans would only win Senate seats and seats they would carry anyways on the presidential level. So the days where you would like see states split their ticket are long gone. But hey, this is the way it is so far. And I think Republicans will retake their Senate majority in 2024 simply based on the fact that they'll have a much more favorable map. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have to make a prediction what happens if Ron DeSantis would be the candidate. I'm really a stupid guy. Anyway, if Ron DeSantis was the nominee, I believe it would certainly be pretty close in Arizona, but Kirsten Sinema would still win. And if it was in Nevada, I think the Republicans would probably able to eke out a fairly considerable victory there. Actually, let's put it tilt, because Nevada, you never know how it's going to go. Now, Montana would certainly be more favorable to the Republicans. Florida would be safe in that scenario. And Ohio could also flip by a lean margin. Republicans will also have a much better shot at Virginia with DeSantis on top of the ticket. About West Virginia, I don't really know whether it would be enough to pull Joe Manchin down. Maybe, maybe not, but for now I'm just going to leave it as tilt Dem. And for Pennsylvania, I don't think it changes much. Bob Casey is still a juggernaut in the state. And Maine might be a little closer. Wisconsin, I have no doubt Ron DeSantis would win Wisconsin, and if Republicans mount the right candidate, they'd also be able to pull the whole thing off. Michigan would certainly be closer, but I think the Democrats will hold on to it. And, yeah, all in all, this is what it looks like. Now, there are four states that I gave to the Democrats by tilt margin: Arizona, Michigan, West Virginia, Virginia. I mean, they all could go Republican in a best-case scenario for Ron DeSantis, no doubt about it. But as right now, I would still favor the Democrats, especially since we have to see particular candidates yet. If it's not Kerry Lake, in fact, I believe Republicans would win Arizona in that scenario because the left-wing turnout for Kirsten Sinema would be extremely depressed. Either way, those are my predictions, one for Donald Trump, one for Ron DeSantis, and I think on average, Ron DeSantis would get Republicans 2 more seats than Donald Trump. Now, this is it for today's video. Please be free to share your comments, your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will read them, and I will respond to them. Have a good day, guys. Max out. See you next time.